Welcome to the Original Fighter's Voice. I'm your host, Don Mcguire. I'm kind of stoked. Out of this whole card, you are the only one, the Red Queen, Jamie Driver, the only female that I get to interview out of the whole card. So I'm kind of stoked about tonight. First and foremost, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I'm transparent. I've always been transparent. I always tell people what we talk about before we go live. I'm that way. But you and I have a tremendous friend that has been on both of our paths, and I really want to talk about him before we get into the fight. And that being Muhammad Lawal, King Mo. I go back 10, maybe 15 years with him, and he's done tons of things for me in my life. Now, I know a while back, King Mo invited you to come to his house, and you even slept on the floor. Was that when you made the move to bare knuckle, or was that when you made the move to MMA?
So I had one MMA fight when I first came to Florida 4 years ago. And I was training at American Top Team in Coconut Creek. And he was my head coach. And then after that fight, COVID hit. And so things were a little hairy for a little bit. But then I got offered bare knuckle fight. And I had one MMA fight and then I made the transition with him to bare knuckle.
Yeah. We talked about it because I know him personally. Um, what type of person did you take away from your walk with King Mo? Because what I find is a very loving individual, a very kind individual. And like I told you, he reminds me of a lot like Kimbo Slice. When he's got his own time, he's just, he's in deep thought constantly. He's always trying to figure out a way to improve himself and to help others. What was your takeaway with your time with King Mo?
He is one of the most selfless people I've met in the fighting game. Most people are extremely selfish, and he's very selfless. He was always constantly on his phone researching for fighters' fights, studying for them. And we were always, going over tape. Um, the kind of person he is, he gives his all if you give your all. And he's definitely, one of the greatest people I've met in my whole entire life.
Yeah, he truly is in mine too. And it's crazy because you were in other aspects of the sport, but I want to ask you a question because I don't know how correct this what the statement is, but from my understanding, when you were staying there, you got an offer to the World Sambo Championships, and you took bronze. How true is that statement?
It is true, but time frame wise, I didn't do it when I was at Mo's house. I did it a
Okay.
couple years before. I believe it was, mm, I could be wrong, it's either 2015 or 2017, somewhere in between there. But I did go over to Moscow, Russia, and I competed and I got the bronze medal for Team
That-
USA.
That's so dope. You know, I've interviewed a lot of bare knuckle, and I've interviewed a lot of MMA fighters and boxers in 21 years. But how hard was it for Jamie Driver to correlate herself from MMA to bare knuckle?
It honestly wasn't too hard. I think for me, it was a bit of an easier transition just because I already was a heavier striker. I prefer striking anyway. And then obviously with the wrestling and grappling I learned from mixed martial arts, it was kind of easy to use that because in bare knuckle you can clinch and you can punch in the clinch. It was just a matter of cleaning up my technique and just becoming sharper in my boxing.
Yeah. You know, January 18th is going to be a tremendous day for you because you're going to face Adriana Vuković, if I said it right. But you're the number one contender. How much in your heart does it sit there to get through this fight and get that opportunity to get that strap back from Josette Cotton? I know that you said that you like to fight at the lighter weight, but would you fight her at any weight to get that strap back?
Her and I actually previously talked. We both didn't make weight for that fight. So we did speak, and we both like. I mean, as far as I know, we both wanted to come back down to 147 to fight for the belt. That's where I'm comfortable at. I was just having some health issues, some hormonal issues that kept me from making weight, unfortunately. And I'm thankful enough now that I've gotten that resolved and weight is good. I'm actually going to be coming in at this fight. They wanted to make sure I could make weight, and I completely understand. So this fight with Adriana is going to be at 150. You know, and I'm excited, you know, Adriana, I'm just excited, honestly, to have more women within the promotion come in. But I'm excited to knock her off her little pedestal and, you know, continue being the number one seed.
Do you mind if I get a couple of these comments out of the way? There's quite a
Sure.
few popping up. A brother of mine from New York, he's a professor, John Grady, says, great introduction. Thank you for another fun and informative interview coming up. I'm most excited. Hey, so am I, bro, because she can bang. And then DJ Tony says, what's up, Jamie Driver?
What's up, Tony?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I really don't like him. I don't really want him on my show. So he can kick rocks. Sorry about that. No, it's just I'm a person that deals with respect. And if you don't come at me with respect, then you're not going to get respect. And I'm sorry that I did that on your interview, but you know, he popped up and I try to take care of my page and try to keep people clean and keep things because otherwise it messes up your interview. So I let the comment out, but only because I thought you might know him. Paul Driscoll says, hello, Don and Jamie, you're a champion. And
Thank you.
then Pinky Savage says, Jamie is a savage, will be a world champion one day. What are your thoughts on that comment?
I definitely agree. I know I have what it takes to be a champion, and I just have to, you know, keep chipping away at it, and it's all in God's timing.
Yeah. You know, I on the research, I don't really write anything down, but I looked at your story, and I always love it when the fighters love their family. Now, you made a statement that your mother is the real champ. Take me through that thought process.
You know, growing up, a lot of people don't know, but my dad was one of, you know, the first few African American NASCAR race car drivers. And, you know, in the early 90s, the 80s, 90s. And for my mother, she took care of me and my brother while my father not only worked a full-time job to take care of us, but was pursuing his dream and his career. And she took, you know, I don't have children, but to know that she took care of the family. She was the one that manned the fort and made sure we were fed and clothed and all that stuff. And um,
Don't know what
you know,
happened.
to me, I don't know how she feels about this, but in my eyes, I feel like she, in a sense, kind of gave up potentially her own life and goals to take care of her husband and her family. You know, to for everyone to kind of pursue them. And she's always been extremely supportive in everything everybody in the family has always done. So for her, she's my own little personal champion. Honestly, I call her one of God's angels. She really is.
Now, do you get to treat her like a queen every year, considering her birthday and Mother's Day is back to back?
It is May 13th is her birthday. I do my best. I can't lie. I was really sad this last Mother's Day and her birthday was. I unfortunately lost the title fight, you know, and they had to go home, and I went back to Florida. But I do my best to treat her the way she deserves. I honestly, I need to do more. She deserves the world.
Yeah. You know, what's crazy is my wife's birthday is May 3rd, and so I'm kind of stuck with the same situation. I got a birthday and then Mother's Day all at once, so it kind of just hits me. But you know, you bring up the word loss. You didn't lose that fight with Jose Cotton. You learned a lesson. You know, and because I've been in this sport a long time, and I don't like the terminology loss because you didn't lose anything, you gained knowledge. So now when you get in a fight with Adriana Vuković, and let's say you do come out victorious, now you're going to learn from the mistakes that you made. I watched just a little snippet of it. I would have played it, but the video quality was horrific. But what I saw was your angles. You know, you didn't cut off the track on too much, but when you would go to the right or to the left, you weren't, you know, playing out the scenario in your head where she was going to come, and that's where she clipped you with the right across the chin. And I think you beat yourself that fight. I don't think Josette Cotton beat yourself. I think you did. What's your thought process moving forward on that?
I agree actually 100% with what you said. You know, a loss is on my record, but from that, I learned extremely valuable information, you know, going forward in fighting bare knuckle. Um, I can't lie. I forgot the question. I had a brain fart.
I said, I believe that you were more responsible than Josette
Yes.
Cotton for losing the fight. I mean, well, like the second time she knocked you down when you took the step, to the left, and you left your arm down, and she caught you with the right. It's just little things that you just gotta pay attention to, and I know you have. I know you've been working on that. And Josh Ortiz Mendoza says, the Red Queen. You know what? That nickname has me curious. Where did you get that nickname?
So, it's funny. I've had multiple fight nicknames through my career, but I've had the red hair for about 10 years now. I have never changed it, and years ago, I was actually at NPR, the wrestling coach there, Chucky Connor. He called me the Red Queen, and I just was like, well, yeah, I am a queen, and I have red hair. Like it just made sense. But I didn't start using the Red Queen until I came to Florida because more people actually kept saying it to me, and I was like, that's so weird. I was like, you know what? I am the Red Queen, and no one can take that from me.
That's so dope. You also made a statement that I said the same dang thing when Luke Rockhold stepped up in the other promotion and his tooth got chipped and he quit. Bare knuckles not for everybody. And a lot of these MMA fighters, they think they can step up and they get hit, and then they realize how hard. I kind of asked you this earlier, but how hard was it for you to transition, and how hard was it for you to get used to getting hit with a bare fist compared to a glove?
Um, yeah, it is extremely different, and I definitely truly believe bare knuckle fighters, you do have to be different, which is very obvious I am. It really, when you're in the midst of the fight, the damage, it's not as bad as after, so getting hit really it wasn't much of a difference to me. The only difference was that I got cut a couple times, and that was the first time really seeing myself bleed, but that wasn't really, it didn't play a factor, into my fights or anything like that. But I will say the pain and recovery after the bare knuckle fights is a little rough. At least from my own personal fights. It was definitely tough, but I don't know. I'm just built for it. I'm built different. I'm a different breed of woman, so I like it. I started street fighting when I was young, so it kind of made its full circle moment.
Yeah. What does bare knuckle truly mean to you? I mean, I've had to interview this whole card so far, and I'll be honest with you, since Denver was probably one of the greatest bare knuckle shows I've ever been to in BYB history. It was just unreal from start to finish. So I wasn't an avid bare knuckle fan, but I am now. I mean, I completely fell in love with it December 2nd. But what is it that keeps you here? What is it that draws you to this? Because there isn't a lot of women in the sport, and you're truly one of the pioneers that are coming up in bare knuckles. So what truly draws you here, and what truly keeps you here?
I just love to fight. Besides MMA, I mean, it's just this the
Oh
uh,
no, we lost her.
oh,
Wait,
you got me back? We're good?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've done Muay Thai fights, kickboxing. So I've tried a bunch of different combative sports. Yeah, but the realness and the rawness of bare knuckle is just something I haven't ever felt in MMA. It's really exhilarating. It's a feeling I really can't describe. I guess the best I could say is it's a thrill. But I feel like MMA fighters and other fighters, they feel the same way, but it's just different. There's a different aspect to it that I know for a fact not many people can stand, and I know I can. Um, I don't know. Like I said, I just like to fight. I like to beat the shit out of people. So
Oh, I love it. As long as you're not like Renee White Boy Rodriguez, he's like dropping N words all over my show, and then he's talking about how his father's sitting in the pen for running keys, and I was just like, bro, you can't talk about that on the show. But he's an original, so he kind of gets away with it. He's from the original underground, the original backyard.
well,
A lot of
that's
people,
his life. He's just being honest.
yeah, but a lot of people he knows, but a lot of people don't know that I came up with Kimbo, and a
Mhm.
lot of people don't know that Kimbo Slice and Dada are cousins, and their manager kind of made them split ways back in the day. But I sit back and I think if Kimbo was alive, because they were going to try to correlate this all together. Can you imagine if Kimbo and Dada and Mike all ran this promotion. I don't think there would be any other promotions, but you know, you got a tremendous fight in front of you. I think Adriana Vuković is going to be a great competitor. I think you'll outclass her. That's just my personal opinion. What are your thoughts going into this fight? Because she does have a really good left, and she does have a really good right uppercut, which her right uppercut just seems to come out of nowhere. What's your thought process going into this fight?
I agree. I've obviously watched her MMA fights. I did some extensive research. She was a boxing champion and a Muay Thai champion. The thing is she's got to reach me first. She's 5'5" and I'm 5'8". I'm tall, I'm long, and I'm lanky. I'm faster, I'm sharper, and I'm more powerful. And this is her first bare knuckle fight. I'm pretty sure she's not sure if she's ready for this. And I'm going to make it known off as soon as that bell rings that as soon as I touch her, she's going to most likely crumble. But like I said, she's gonna have to work really hard to get on the inside to get even that uppercut or that left to touch my face. So
I agree with that because you're savage. I'm not gonna lie, you're savage. A friend of mine, Judy Henry, says, "Hey Don, nice to see you." Uh, Orozco Polanco says, "Jersey blood is strong. Keep up the good work. Fight to the end, Jamie." And
thank
then
you, Roscoe.
and Pinky Savage says, "Jamie will knock her out in the first round. She is way, way too powerful, and she comes right at you. Jamie is a banger. Jamie's a rare breed of fighters." What is it? What does it feel like to have your friends emulate their thought process about your walk?
About like my walk to
Yeah, what they see. I mean, because
oh I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. I guess they see the fighter, and that's just one side of me. So sometimes I kind of get a chuckle out of it because I'm like, no, like that's not me. But I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm a bad MFer, and I like to bang, and I do come at people. That's what I was born and bred to do. So
this is a good question. John Grady, I just love the guy to death. He says, "What type of emotions do you experience an hour or so prior to your fight?"
that's a good question.
Yeah.
I will actually say each fight has been different. And to touch on that, I'll say back to what you said previously that I beat myself in the Joseph fight. You're right, because mentally a couple hours before, I was so anxious, which I'm usually not. But before that fight, I was extremely anxious and I couldn't shake the nerves. And that's actually really rare for me because my last 4 or 5 fights before that, I was fine. But yeah, the last Joseph fight, I was a nervous wreck. Um, but usually, honestly, an hour before, I mean, we're in the back, so I'm just in the back chilling. I'm usually wrapped up, warming up, stretching, and I'm just listening to, whatever I'm in the mood for that day. And I'm usually pretty relaxed. I try not to, because a lot of fighters, when you're in the back, you can feel other people's energies, and a lot of people are freaking nervous. So I just try and stay away from people, and I stay in my little bubble. I stay with my coach, and I just I just relax. That's about it. I'm pretty calm for the
Yeah.
most part. I meditate. That's the one thing I started doing. I meditate a lot. So, and that keeps me pretty calm, cool, collected.
Yeah, that fight you just seemed a little off kilt. I mean, that's really all it is from the walkout. And we all have those
Yeah.
days. Everybody has those days, but
Yeah.
now
There's no
so
excuse. I didn't feel good. We didn't even have a long warm up. Our warm up got cut off, and I was already anxious, and then they just said you got to go walk. So I walked out cold basically. And I didn't feel good. I didn't feel good, and it showed. I didn't perform good at all. But like you said, it happens to the best of us. We all have our days, and so we got to pay our dues. So
what I love about you though is you didn't make an excuse. That's the greatest part of the walk in Jamie Driver is I've never heard you make an excuse. And I think that's one of the things that I look up to in your career about. Um,
thank you.
Brian Halderson said confidence is the key. And on what we were talking about earlier, he said the way of showing respect. You do have a lot of ways of showing respect, but confidence is key. And like we talked about it, you're back on par. I think this fight right here is going to be the one that sets the precedence. It may even get the fight of the year for 2024 because I know you got a chip on your shoulder over the last fight and you've got something to prove.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us a little bit deeper into that? Because a lot of people don't understand when a fighter gets taught a lesson, how much it weighs on their shoulders. How much has this weighed on your shoulders and in your thoughts?
Yeah, losses can either make or break you. And I would say for the first month after the fight, I was a broken little puppy with its tail between its legs. You know, besides being physically beat up and broken hands and tendons and stuff like that, I really questioned, like, is this really what I want to do? What am I really doing here? And then within a matter of a couple of weeks, I snapped out of it because I'm a fighter at the end of the day, and I knew I just needed to make adjustments, in my training and in my game plan, and that was really it. But like he had made a comment about confidence, that's huge. And it wasn't like before coming to Florida, I wasn't confident at all in myself and my ability, and it shows. That's why my professional MMA record is the way it is. I was never confident, and it wasn't until I met Mo Lawal, he finally showed me why and how I should be confident in myself, and now I am.
Yeah, that's tremendous. I'm gonna jump out of the box. Don Povey and Mike might get a little bit mad at me for saying this, but let's say you redeem yourself in the Vuković fight. You get an opportunity to face Josette Cotton again. But let's say hypothetically there was a third opponent from a different organization. I don't know how they would make this work because neither one of the promotions like each other. But I brought it up with you earlier. Everybody seems to think that Christine Ferreira is the GOAT in bare knuckle. Well, I disagree with that. And the reason I disagree with that is because Helen Peralta starched her. Yeah, she's fought Beck Rollins a couple times. She's, fought a lot of the people coming up that were through the tryouts. Where would it sit in your heart if Jamie, if you got the opportunity, if they said, okay, you can fight Josette Cotton or you can have an opportunity to fight Christine Ferreira, what would truly be the choice in the heart of Jamie Driver?
Ooh. See, I can't lie. I want to fight everybody. I never say no to a fight. So the thing is like I do have a chip on my shoulder, and the Adriana fight isn't going to take that away. It's not until I get the rematch with Josette and beat the brakes off her and get that win and get the title. So really, I mean, I want the Josette fight, but to fight Christine, to do a cross promotion, that would be amazing. I mean, I know you feel some type of way, Christine not being, the number one, but and here's the thing: is as far as weight classes, I can't really speak on that because we're in two totally different weight classes. I'm a
Yeah,
big girl, so but she is, to me, she's the leading female in bare knuckle. She's definitely fought the most out of every female so far, and has the winning record out of everybody. Um, I think Christine is a tremendous athlete. She's tough, she's skillful. And that would be an awesome fight to make one day. I would definitely not be opposed to it. I mean, like I said, I'm not
yeah,
opposed to anything. Give me the fight. I don't
yeah.
care.
He said, give me a dude, I'll fight him. You
Yeah, I don't
know,
care.
John
Just
Grady
at
says,
just at
what
my
a,
weight.
yeah, at your way. He said, what a warrior's mentality, very inspiring. And Gabe Polanco says, everyone falls, but it's how you get up what matters. Let's go, Jamie Driver or Roscoe Elite. Um,
Thanks, Gabe.
and I forgot my buddy up here. I'm sorry. I just like to give everybody, because you know what? This is the fighter's voice. It's not my voice. It's your show for me to let you share what you, and these people show up to give you compliments. And Chris Sol Gonzalez says, hey, what's good, Bare Knuckle family? He says, I'm excited to see BYB Extreme Fighting Series take off this year. I got to admit, when I was in Rock Hill, South Carolina, I didn't think they could put on a better card. And then we went to Denver. And from the opening ding to the last fight, it was probably one of the best bare knuckle cards I've ever seen since I've been with BYB. I tell you what, Mark Irwin and Julio Tenori put on one phenomenal, phenomenal show. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like Mark Irwin, but you got to after that fight. I mean, the guy had a broken jaw, looked like a grenade went off in his ear. He had two heads from the hematoma, but yet the guy kept coming forward. That's a
Yep.
true champion. That's a true champion. You made a statement that you don't feel the pain until after the fight.
Mhm.
How do you think, you've been in there, you've been in the Trigon. How hard do you think that was for Mark Irwin to get through that situation?
Very hard. Um, because at that point, it's a battle between you and your own mind. Um, you know, can you keep going? Will you keep going? Will this, like, at least for me, like with the Joseph fight, I was like, oh, will this be the last time, like the last round? Is she gonna knock me out here, or what are we doing here? I don't know what his mindset was like, but the thing is that I know that him and I are the same because you just keep going. You're not gonna let your mind beat you. You just keep coming forward. But I know, I mean, obviously he broke his jaw, so I know my man's was in some pain. After I'll be honest, after the Joseph fight, I couldn't chew food for 3.5 weeks. I couldn't open my mouth. I could only have popsicles and smoothies. Cause yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's a brutal sport. It's very painful. But
What's going on? Yeah, we're glitching for some reason, but I got full service, so do you. So maybe it's
I
just,
do, yeah. It could be me
yeah,
though. I'm in a hotel, so sometimes the service is a little.
yeah. I got a question. How does a young lady from track and field, lacrosse, and arena hockey end up in combat sports?
Hell. um, so at 19, I met a guy and we were dating, and he was an amateur MMA fighter. And he noticed I had a bit of a temper. I had a problem. I was very angry at the world. And I always was in fights and always down to fight and always trying to fight somebody if I was out. And he brought me to Daddis MMA in Philly, and it was kind of all she wrote. The first day I showed up for 3 hours. I did back to back Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu classes, and I thought I was gonna die, But I loved. It was like a chess match. It was competitive. It was. I mean, like I said, I liked to fight already, but this was a skilled type of fighting. This was way different than street fighting, and it drew me into it. And I also knew, just because I was a competitive athlete my whole life, so it just kind of went hand in hand. So I started training at 19 years old in Philly, and I just kept going and had my first amateur MMA fight at 21, and I won. And I loved, the thrill of winning, but then also getting to hurt someone to do it. So yeah, I just kept on going.
I think that's cool, because you don't see most women that go from track and field to lacrosse, because lacrosse is everybody's going to laugh at me, but I love lacrosse. I think it's a demanding sport, and I just, I like weird things, so it's kind of funny, but
I actually really hated lacrosse. I hated it so much, but my field hockey coach was also the lacrosse coach, and she was like, "Oh, we could really use you," and blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, "I'll just do it." I was just like, I hated the 2 seasons I played, but I was a field hockey player for 8 years, varsity for 4, so that was more of my thing. I got a full ride scholarship for that, but and I messed that up because I ended up going to college and I fought somebody in the first semester and I got kicked out, and that's basically what started my fight career.
I love that. You know, Being that you're one of the first females that I've had from BYB on my show, what was it like? I've got a male's perspective, what it was, because people see the Trigon and they go, "Oh, that looks bigger than it is on TV," and then you step up in it. What was it like for you, Jamie, to step up in the Trigon for the first time and realize how small it truly is?
So I can't lie, when I saw pictures of it, I was like, "There's no freaking way. It's like fighting in a phone booth." And then when I showed up for my first fight in Mississippi, I felt the ring out. I was actually like, "Wow, this is actually to me it was bigger than I thought." Because in boxing, you don't need a lot of space. You only need. So I actually thought it was a lot bigger, but it's still, I mean, coming to the Trigon from an octagon, is it's definitely a big change. But I enjoy it because you can't run, you can't, you know what I mean? So you can't go anywhere but be, just a couple steps away from someone. And I like that. It keeps the action going the whole time.
Yeah, because either way, off the scratch, you take 2 steps back, you're in the corner. You take 2 steps the other way, you're up against the ropes. You can't run in there. And I remember my first
Nope.
show in Biloxi, and I was with Burt Watson. I said, "I'm gonna climb up in this thing," and I went, what in the world? This thing is tiny. And those corners, I don't think television does those corners justice. I don't think they really
The corners are
realize.
tight. Those are, you get
Yeah.
stuck in the corner, you're in the corner. You're not getting out.
No, it's almost like a death trap. But excuse me 1 second here.
No, go ahead.
Price you pay for pharyngeal paralysis. But you know what was it like? Because there's three organizations in bare knuckle. What was it like for BYB to reach out to you, finally get to meet the highly accredited staff, and then participate in an event? What was your takeaway? Because with me, I've never worked for a promotion that takes care of its employees, takes care of its fighters, and has the compassion for everybody involved, as much as Mike, all the way down to the lowest person on the totem pole. What was your takeaway from your first fight with BYB?
I, again, 100% agree with everything you said. This was the first promotion to not just treat me like a number, or someone to sell tickets for them. They treated me like a human and like a prestigious, fighter. From the time that we, first started talking to, the time I got to my first fight, everybody went out of their way to make sure I was okay, everything was good, all my ducks were in a row. I mean, I've never had a company like this be so nice, and helpful. If I need something or if I have a question, it's not, I don't go through the ringer with people. I get an answer right away, or they're always, Mel and Mike and Don and Dada, everyone's willing to help, at a moment's notice. And I'm really grateful for them.
This is going to sound like a weird question, but I want people to understand what this promotion truly does. And Pinky, I'm going to get to your comment in a second. I've never seen a promotion fly their drivers all over the world just so the fighters can see a recognizable face when they get picked up at the airport. How much does that truly mean to somebody that's getting ready to put their life on the line to get picked up by someone they actually know at the airport?
It's nice because it's comfortable. I mean, I'll say, and obviously this wasn't BYB's fault. When I went to London to fight, the driver just never showed up. And it wasn't the BYB drivers, it was someone, they had out in London, and
Oh, the
they just never.
BKB, yeah.
Yeah, so they never even came to pick us up from the airport. So my coach and I had to scramble. And again, I paid, obviously I got to pay for the ride. What am I going to do? And they paid me right back. It wasn't a problem. But no, it's nice to know, everything now. It's like when I show up, if I have to fly in town or wherever I need to go, I'm set and I don't have to worry about who's the weirdo picking me up, or what's going on. And, I know there's always going to be a shuttle. I know there's always going to be, I can call someone and be like, hey, and they'll give me a time, and it works out great.
It makes you want to fight harder for them, don't it? It makes me want to work harder for them, so I know it's got to make you want to fight harder.
Hell yeah.
You love fighting. You love fighting anyway.
Yeah.
Chris
I
Gonzalez says, Janet, go ahead.
I mean, I always just want to outdo myself regardless, of the fight. I always want to get better and entertain.
That's so cool. I'm glad I finally got a female from BYB because I get a different perspective from, I had Uli Diaz on here, and it's refreshing. Chris Gonzalez says January 18th is going to be a hard event to beat this year. 3 championships to start out 2024. I think you're kind of right, but I think it's going to be hard to beat our last event in Denver, Colorado on December 2nd. We got the fight of the year, the fight of the night. That card was just. See, the only thing I didn't get to go to Rock Hill when you were there. I had to have surgery. I had an amputation, so I missed. I think that was when you fought.
That was when I fought
Dryling. No, oh yeah, that was, and then the one before that was Sandra Dryling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Josh Ortiz Mendoza says 2024 will be the Red Queen's year. Claim what you deserve. What would you like to say to Josh?
Absolutely, Josh. I've already claimed it. And me and God were like this. We're locked in. So I know it's all going to work out this year.
That's dope. And then Pinky Savage says Jamie does not run. She hunts when she gets in the ring. And then Pamela McClure says, "So proud of you, Jamie, from back home in Jersey."
Oh,
You
Pam,
know,
hey. Pam has been a rider and a supporter for a long time now. So I love you, Pam.
and then my brother Paul Driscoll, they call him Little Holmes because him and Larry Holmes are like that. He says, "Because you're royalty, champ." You know, in my heart, I really feel you're going to be, on top here very soon. I think Mel's been doing a hell of a job. I think he did a tremendous job in picking this fight for you because you come out victorious, the world is yours. I mean, everything you want is right back in the grasp of Jamie Driver. You
Absolutely.
can call the shots at that point. So, what would you like to say to Vukovic going into January 18th? What would you, if you were able to speak to her face to face, what would you say to her going into January 18th in Pembroke Pines, Florida?
Mm, what do I want to say to Adriana? Train hard, invest in a really good mouthpiece, and I hope you have really good health insurance in Croatia.
Wow, shit. That's as poignant as you can get. You know what? I'm not disagreeing with you. What's going on here? I think it might be the hotel, so I'm just gonna we'll chalk it up at that. If everybody's still here, you're still here, so we're good. You know, moving forward, it's like I said, this is the opportunity of a lifetime for you. Marinko Mustafa, I believe, Marinko, I think you're from Canada too, aren't you? He says, a huge fan of Don Mcguire, huge respect and shout out to the Red Queen. I am Croatian, so don't beat her up, kidding. God bless both of you. That's a good brother,
Uh,
Pat Mil. That's a good brother of Pat Militich's, and so you're going to get a lot of diversity on my show. You'll get boxers, bare
oh,
knuckle,
awesome.
all MMA fans. Well, I walk this life. I believe if you tell the truth, you don't have to tell a lie. And, to show everybody respect, I was given an opportunity. So for the past 40 years, I've always given back to the sport. And I think it's a necessity for all of us. I got a question for you. This is going to be a hell of a fight. And you on your side are doing it right by, first of all, being on the show, but you promote yourself, you promote the show. How much relevance do you feel that as a fighter that you have to promote the promotion as much as the promotion has to promote you?
I think it goes hand in hand. I mean, as a promotion, wanting, let's speak just about me. It's like you want me to fight for you. Well, then you have to market and promote me. But then also for me wanting to fight for you, I have to market and promote you. I just feel like it's just a hand in hand. You help me, I help you, because with me fighting, I bring my fans and my support to now your promotion that they're not just going to watch me, they're also going to watch other fighters on the card, and but then with BY Beats, and the same goes for other fighters on the card. I've gotten a ton of fans and support just because of other fighters, friends and fans watching me, and like it all just it's like a revolving door, and we're all here to help each other, So that's what I like about fighting.
Hey, I just love it. I can't. I'm not going to be there the 18th because I've had, my son's been sick and I got some issues going myself. I still may come out. I'm not sure yet, but my friend, go out there and show the world what you truly have worked for. Go out there and show the world what the Red Queen, Jamie Driver, truly has put into. I guess the best way to say it is put on your path, and you're going to see it through to apparition. I want to see another fight with you and Josette Cotton because, like I said, you weren't 100, you weren't on point. I think it would be easier to say that, you got taught a better lesson if you were on point. But I just don't think you were on point that night. And it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody on their walk in the sport. But I tell you what, if you go back just to the Draling fight, if you go back to the Ekholm fight, people could truly see the ability that you have. You know, Jamie, if you had to look, I know your mother's a very endearing quality in your life. I know King Mo is a tremendous mentor in your life. Who is the one that you truly lean on the most in this hardest moments moving forward in the sport we love and call bare knuckle?
Mm. I'd say that I'd have to give it to top two people at this point that I lean on.
Yeah.
Is actually my dad, just because of, the
Uh,
professional sport that he was in, and he faced a lot of adversity. So, I can definitely lean on. I mean, he's my dad, and I'm a daddy's girl. So, of course I'm going to run to him. But, he lived a 63 year or 60, excuse me, 66 years. He's lived and, done a lot in his life. And I actually work for him. I work for his companies back home too. So we spend a lot of time together and I get to, bounce my ideas off him or get advice. And if anybody that knows Brucey, he's a tough cookie and, he will put his foot where the sun don't shine and he will tell me really how it is. But that's why I love him so much because he's not going to hold back. He's really going to tell me one, how he really feels and what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And besides him, I just talk, like I said, I talked to God. I found God when I was out in London, so just a year ago. Um, and since letting him enter my life, I've definitely elevated so much already. So I leave it to God and leave it sometimes to Bruce, and we make it work.
yeah. I love that, because I accepted God into my life, and I've been through 253 surgeries, and the past 4 years, the world's been flipped upside down, and a lot of people will ridicule me and say, "Oh, your Lord's, your God has let you suffer through." No, my God has let me live through 253 surgeries, and I wouldn't change a thing in my life. Yeah, I went through 13 amputations on my leg in the last 21 months, but I'm still here. But see, people are missing the most important part of that statement and that part of life because there's so many other people that have it so much worse than I do. I have nothing to complain about. Think about the little kids in third world countries that wake up in the morning, have nothing to eat, have parents that don't even love them. I mean, we're spoiled as Americans. I know politics is really screwed up right now, and I really don't talk politics, but you know, for my 61 years on this earth, I'm very grateful that I got to grow up in America. I've seen other countries. I've seen how they have to live. As an American, I feel spoiled, and it's like I know things are changing, and a lot of people aren't used to it, but we have to hold on to faith. At the end of the day, what does faith truly mean to Jamie Driver?
Hmm, that's a good question. What does faith mean to me? Ooh, I'm really faith for me is like I said, my faith is in God and that He truly has a plan destined for me. And just like you, just like anybody else, everything negative you could say that has happened to me or I've had to go through, it's not because God hates me, it's because He loves me and He wants to see a better version of me, and that's how He shaped me. But I give my faith, I know having faith in Him and just having faith that things will always work out. It's just pretty easy that way.
I always ask the man in the mirror questions. You turn the light off, and for that moment, you get a look at yourself in the mirror, or you're walking through a park and you come across a puddle and you look down into it for that brief moment. You get a look into who you are. Let's say you were walking down a path in a park and you did look into a puddle and you got a look into how deep Jamie Driver truly is. What do you feel you will see, and how do you feel it's made Jamie Driver on her walk?
Hmm. If I looked into a puddle at myself, I would see a beautiful, strong woman who has faced many different things that could have easily destroyed and broken me. But hmm, yeah. But the love and the faith I have in my heart has always kept me going. Um, yeah, the tenacity of the woman I am that I see is, I mean, I look in the mirror every day because I know I have to face myself. In the fight, I'm not fighting Adriana. I'm fighting myself really to be the better person in that fight. So that's what I see when I look into the puddle. is seeing a broken woman that's overcome a lot, but has a lot to give and a lot of love. And I'm only going to get better with time.
That's deep. That truly is. I mean, because, you know, a lot of fighters, people don't realize fighters do have feelings and they do open up. And that's why I like the format of this show. I watched a couple interviews that you did with some other people and they didn't even let you talk. And to me, why have a fighter on if you're not going to let them speak? And I would never find out how unique and you know, your perception of life. It's tremendous. My mother had a hard life. I didn't grow up with my mother, but it's great to hear you talk about your father that way. It's great to hear you talk about your mother that way. It's great to see the love, and Amber Morgan says she's a badass.
Thanks, Amber.
And, and Chris Gonzalez says, from a fighter's perspective, redemption weighs a lot. I want to take out all those that defeated me. What's your perception on the ones that have taught you a lesson on your walk? Do you necessarily want to go back and repair that, or are you the type that just wants to move forward? With the exception of
Um,
Jose Cotton.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely I want to get that back. But honestly, all the other losses I've taken in my career, I don't really have the one. I don't care. It's been so long at this point. I mean, right after the fight, immediately I was like, yeah, let's get the rematch. But did it make sense? No, because I needed to learn and I needed to take all those lessons that I learned and apply them to other fights in the future
Yeah.
and just keep moving forward. Um, but yeah, so like redemption's really, I mean, I can't lie, redemption's really not the first thing on my mind now, actually, even with Josette. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would like the rematch. And like I said, we both didn't make weight. I don't think it's fair she even kept the belts or the belt, whatever. But I understand, it's just how the way fighting works. But I'll get it back.
I have no doubt in that. Pamela McClure says you're going to win, but win or lose, you are a champion.
Oh, thanks, Pam.
And then my buddy Paul Driscoll says she seems so ladylike, very classy, elegant, but age will knock you out cold.
Oh man, I wish he would say that to my father. He would definitely cringe at that. He'd be like, "She's a lady, that one." But
Oh,
yo,
well,
no, I
Paul,
know age is gonna creep up on me. I mean, I'm 33 years old now. I just turned 33 in August, so yeah, time is gonna take its. But it is what it. But time hits us all, so I'm just trying to use these years the best I can and just enjoy the fight career while it lasts.
yeah, that's truly what it's about. I mean, live your moments while you got them, and
Absolutely.
people like he says prime time if I can get it to work. Um,
Yep.
I've been December 12th. I sat back. I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of people are gonna hear this for the first time, but I was sitting here right before December, and I go, December 12th is gonna be my 40th year in this sport. I already knew the four Hall of Fames that I'm going into in 2024. And I was sitting there, and you know how mean this sport can be and how ruthless it can be. And I was like, do I want to put in another year? And as the closer we got to December 12th, I was like, man, I'm 61 years old. I've been doing this for 40 years. I've reached every accolade, every pinnacle that I ever dreamt about. But you know what? This sport has a way of holding on to you. This sport will not let you go until it wants to let you go. I could say I'm going to be gone next year, but chances are I'll probably still be here. My son is about 4 years, 5 years older than you. What is it about just sports in general that keeps you so alive, so intuitive to the path that you're on now? Because I remember when I was your age, I just wanted to sit at the beach and drink beer all day, and here you are in the gym trying to become a world champion. What defines the mentality of a fighter such as yourself?
I can't lie, for the early part of my career, I was trying to mix the two lives together, being a party girl and fighting. And again, my record shows partying and being a fighter, it doesn't go hand in hand. Um, So I had to change the way I was, and I had to be completely disciplined and structured. Like a lot of people know, I live in New Jersey. That's where I'm from. But I packed up and moved to Florida 4 years ago. I moved back to New Jersey last year at the end of the year. And now I'm back in Florida training, but because I know what it takes um, to reach your goals. And it takes a lot of sacrifice. Um, yeah, the mentality and the mindset has to be different. You have to be focused and determined, and you just have to know what your goals are and go for them.
That's dope. Well, this comment, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up. I didn't know we've been on here for an hour already. Uh, my brother Brian Holderson from Canada says, "Next level Don is antique for you." Well, I mean, I went to Denver on crutches. How many people, I broke my prosthetic the first few days I had it. And how many people that would actually go to Denver and work on crutches?
They
You know,
wouldn't.
Mike looked at me like, "What in the hell, bro?" I was at the arena at 6:30 in the morning, and we stayed until like 7 o'clock that night, and did it the next day. And it's like, because he told me, "You show up to Denver, I'm not going to pay you. You stay home, and I'll pay you." I was like, "I'm not going to stay at home and get paid. I'd rather go to the event and not get paid." I still got paid, but you know, it's this. I don't know. It was something about Denver. I had to be there. And I'll tell you what, if Pembroke Pines on January 18th, BYB 23, doesn't steal the show, I'll be surprised, because this organization is completely coming together now and starting to show the world what it is to build it from the bottom up. But not only that, but to build it right. What was it like for you to walk in on your first fight and see Mike Goldberg, Claudia Trejos, Paulie Malignaggi, uh, Benny Ricardo? I mean, to have one of the top-notch commentating teams in not just bare knuckle, but in the sport in general, how did it make you feel seeing the type of production that you were stepping into?
Well, I fangirled heavily over all of them. And but I mean, it was just such a great privilege. I was like, wow, I'm so grateful that I'm not only working with one of the best bare knuckle promotions in the country. They have the best commentators and the best production, and it's just awesome to know that I'm a part of it. Beginning to end. Well, I mean, eventually the end of my career, but to be start at the beginning with them, and to see it through, and I see from every fight they just get better and better and better, and I think that's amazing. So, but it's awesome to be a part of.
Oh yeah. Well, what would the Red Queen, Miss Jamie Driver, like to say to the fans of BYB and the new fans that you're accumulating, because you're gaining in popularity? People are starting to know who you are. What words of thanks would you like to say to the sporting community and the fans of Jamie Driver for supporting you and having your back all this way?
I just want to say I'm extremely grateful for every single one of you that, win or lose, you have my back and you support me and support this crazy lifestyle that I have. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. For to be a fighter and to live this life it is really hard. So to have friends, family, and fans and support from all of you is hands down the best, and it is a key factor that definitely keeps me going. So I'm grateful and thankful to all of you. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we thank you because, you know, I finally, like I said, I'm finally feel blessed that Don Povia gave me one of the women off of our roster, because, the men are always got so much machismo. They don't really break things down quite eloquent like you did tonight. It was an honor for me to have you on the show, and it's one more comment, Chris. Chris Gonzalez says bare knuckle is the future of combat sports. Future champion of bare knuckle right here. I mean, I think you know where you need to be, and it was an honor and a privilege for me to have you on the show tonight. I'm going to hand the mic to you, but before I do, I'm glad that you found your way with our Lord and Savior. I'm glad that you have, realized where your heart truly needs to be on your walk. I do got one more question. I'll take that back. What did it mean when you first got down on bended knee and you laid that first stone? to build the path that you've created thus far in life? What is it now that you look back over your shoulder? What does it mean now, looking back at you laying that first stone?
In my process of finding God, or just
Oh
in
no,
life?
just in life in general.
Man, looking back, it's been a long journey, and I still have a long way to go. But it's cool. It's amazing to see the growth, not just as a fighter, but as a human being. Um, yeah, and I'm just excited for the future to see how much better of a human I become through fighting and through this journey.
That's dope. It was such, like I said, such an honor for me to have you on the show tonight. I know my show's a little bit different than most people, and I'm sorry about that DJ Tony thing, but I'm the type of person in life, if you turn your back on me, keep your back turned. I just always been that way. This sport has made me that way. Most people that are old like me realize when I first came into the sport, the mob ran it. So I always go back to the way they ran it, and I stay that way. Pamela McClure says, "We love you, Jamie. Have a great year." You
Oh,
know,
we love you, Pam.
my friend, I'm going to hand the mic to you. If you have anything that you would like to add to the show, any Fred's family, or just anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
Well, first, I want to say thank you for having me on. This was actually one of, if not the best, interview podcast I've ever been on. Like you said before, I get cut off all the time in interviews, and I can't stand it. And I get asked the same redundant, ridiculous, boring questions all the time that you could literally probably Google. So it was actually really nice and a breath of fresh air for you to ask my insights on so many different things. So thank you, and I'm very grateful for you. Um, I just want to tell everyone, tune in January 18th. You're going to see the Red Queen come back, get a win, and I'm thinking KO of the year. I'm thinking I'm stealing that. Um, but I just, I want to say thank you to my friends and my family, my coach Derek Santos at DS Boxing in Boca Raton, my strength and conditioning coaches Phil DeRue and Jack at DeRue Strength Performance in Deerfield, Florida. Also, my two coaches I was working with back home, Johannes Habtu, he was helping me with my conditioning. My man's is a killer. If you guys are in the PA Jersey area, he's the one to see. And also, I was working with Tim Witherspoon Jr. In boxing over in Bristol, PA. So if you guys are also in the area, I would say check him out. He's amazing. And I just want to say thank you to my two top sponsors, Rainwear Seamless Gutters and Quality Drywall. You guys are amazing. Two of my best and longest sponsors I've had. So I'm super appreciative, and I'm just really appreciative of all the support I've continued to have over the years. And yeah, I'm just excited to get back to work and kill it. And I really just want to say, I know the world is really weird right now.
Yeah.
Um, and I know a lot of people are going through things that they don't talk about, or maybe they do, but regardless, try and be a light, not only in your own life, but everybody else's. Help when you can and give when you can, because you don't know when it's going to be your last time or their last time. So give love, give light, and just try and be a better person every day. But yeah.
Amen. That's dope. I really like that. Paul Driscoll, he says, use that jab, etc. You didn't do that the first time, but I think you already realized that. But I think the second, well, we got to get past this next fight. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure you Pembroke Pines, January 18th in Florida. You got to go see BYB 23. The promotion is blowing up. It's just tremendous. Uh, John Grady says, keep visualizing that KO, ideally performing and taking any punch coming your way, and enjoy the event. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, John.
You know, I don't know, you don't have to do it, but since you found the Lord, I offer this opportunity to every fighter on my show. If you want to take us out with a prayer, the floor is yours if you want to. You don't have to.
Oh man. Okay, so can I be honest? This
You
is
don't
so
have
it's
to.
it's fun. I know. I so it's um, I am working on that. So I pray every day for myself, but verbally, like out loud praying for people or in general, I haven't found my niche yet. But I would like you to pray.
I could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Brian Holderson says, make it a plus, Jamie. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Dear Lord, I want to thank you for another day of life and another opportunity to share a fighter's testimony. Please give Jamie the strength that she needs to guide her on the path that she so vibrantly walks. She's a tremendous young lady in life, and Lord, reach out and give her, her family, and the people that surround her the love and the identity and the confirmation that they need in this so-called crazy world. You know, God, I appreciate you every day, and I feel loved for the opportunities that you give me. You know, I don't feel ridiculed or, embarrassed because of my body. I feel loved because of who you made me today and gave me the opportunities to bring such a wonderful future world champion on my show. Lord, I ask that you reach out to Jamie and everybody in this world and give them the faith, the courage, and the respect that they need to move forward in life. I ask that you teach people that are negative to be positive and to show them the light and show them that happiness is a much better way of love than ridiculing each other and tearing each other down. I ask you, Lord, to show the bright light on this world and show us the right path and give Jamie the strength that she needs to endure this next event on January 18th. I ask that you put your arms around the world and show us all love, even our enemies. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I pray. Amen. God
Amen.
bless
That was
you.
beautiful. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you.
You're
I,
a
I
beautiful
love
soul.
God. Oh, I'm an old soul. You know what? It's crazy because I'm 61, but most of my friends are 20, 30 years older than me. So the generations that we come from aren't a bad place. You know, it's just times are changing, and we do have to accept some of the things moving forward because not everything is bad. Not every part of change is bad, but you know, we do all need to come together as one and quit tearing each other down. It truly is just destroying who we are. Let me get these
Absolutely.
comments out of here. Oh, ooh. Paul Driscoll said, God bless you. I understand. Pam McClure says, yes, Lord bless Jamie and all her endeavors. And then John Grady said, great prayer. Thank you, brother. Paul Driscoll says, amen, Father Mcguire. That was beautiful.
That was.
Brian Holderson said, amen. And Pamela McClure said, beautiful prayer. Thank you. You know, I just really feel that way about life. And my friend, you're a beacon of hope and you're a tremendous warrior in our promotion. Go out there and show the world what you're capable of and show the world what you deserve. On that note, I can't wait till the next time I have you on the show. We'll get you on after January
After I
18th.
win. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
After I get that win. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for honoring my show and my guest. And like I said, I can't wait to have you back on again. You have a good night and God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
I can't wait to be back. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless. Bye. I just honestly, it's the first time Don Povey has given me a female warrior, and I'll tell you what, I'm stoked about it, man. I had a young kid from boxing on last night, you know, and he was just a tremendous. 173 amateur fights, 5-0 and one as a pro, getting ready to fight his sixth pro fight. He's only 18 years old. Then today I get to bring on a tremendous, tremendous warrior. It couldn't get any better than this, you know. The last few days have been rough, but these two interviews have made this old man's heart smile. And like Gordy Simpson says, amen, simmer salute. Love you, bro. I want to thank each and every one of you. If you like the show, please give it a follow or share it. I really don't pay. I like to do it organic. If I can't do it right and I can't bring people here without paying for it, then I'm not going to do it at all. With that being said, you have a good night. God bless and thank you.